Hello. Hey, everybody. Welcome to our live. I am Heather, and we come to you live each and every day. So you learn about Luminess and you learn what we do, how to do it, what to do with it. Um, you may have seen the infomercials and you have questions. That's what this is for. So it is a way for you to figure it out, to get your questions answered live. And so I named this one FAQs because I do want to hear from you guys. I want to hear, I'm going to go through what I normally do, going through the makeup, but I want to hear the questions that you had when starting to airbrush. So, good morning, Cindy. Um, so, what questions came up when airbrushing? Hey, Lori, what questions did you get after, or did you have a week after airbrushing? What questions did you have before you even opened your box? So, I want to kind of hear from you guys and let me know what those questions are so we can address them. I hope that I address them in most of the lives. But I just really, it could be all over the place. So don't say, well, we're talking about this. Maybe. No, ask your questions. That is what I'm here for. Okay. So we always like to go over the basics. We always like to go over the beginnings. And this is what you get in your kit. So this is one of our systems. This is our Icon. We also have the Icon Pro and the Legend. And of course, now we have the Breeze, which is our cordless and chargeable one. And it's amazing. And that's the one I'll be using today. And so, again, ask your questions. I'm actually going to make a note. I need to come make a Breeze slide because I know most of you use the Breeze right now because when everybody saw that, ooh, they got that chargeable one, no cord, I'm doing it. But all the makeup that you see here comes with the system. So you get your foundation, you get your blush, and you get Love. And we give you 2 shades of foundation so you can have that perfect shade match. And it's, they're not the same color, but they're similar in color because when you're ordering a range. You're ordering like light, medium, so you're ordering a range. So that's why we give you those 2, so you have some options whether to mix or use a lighter one or darker one, whatever the case may be. And then the blush, that's very high pigmented. So we're going to go over that. You're only going to use 2 drops. Don't use any more than 2 drops, please. I don't want you looking crazy, okay? And then Love is a highlighter or kind of an illuminator that you can use. It might not be something you use every single day, but you will love it. You will love love. Who doesn't love love? All right, so now these are some steps that we tell you to do when starting out. So we do want you to make sure that you do keep this 4 finger widths away, keep it moving, and barely, barely, barely pull back on that trigger. That is what you are going to want to practice before getting started. And you can do that with water. You can do it with whatever. Hello, Maniac. How are you? Hello, Pam. Maniac is changing the names. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. But again, let me know, what questions do you have? We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube. So I know there's a lot of people watching. Just ask away. That's what I'm here for. Please use me. So I have moisturized my face. I actually used our, I thought I had, oh yeah, here it is. The Bulgarian Rose Serum. And I love this. I actually use it more, I was using it more at night and just kind of as a treatment, like a nightly treatment after I wash my face. But I have been using it more before I put on my makeup. And so you can kind of try that out. See, hey, I like it better without it, or I like it as a night treatment, because when you don't have, when you're able to smell again after COVID, it smells amazing. It has that Bulgarian rose in it, just like our rose foundation. And so it has that lovely smell. It is amazing. And so it's rose serum, Bulgarian rose is good for the for your skin because it helps with pore reduction and all that funness. All right, so I'm going to jump in Nope, that one's dead. And I just remembered I didn't charge any of these. So hopefully we'll get one that works. All right, I'm using actually the CC concealer. Hello, Amber. How are you? All right, so I have a little bit of the CC concealer, and I just think I blew an eyelash in my eye. Hey, Veronica. Hello, Denise. How are you? So this is one question I get majority of the time is how do you spray under the eyes? Because that's a hot topic for me, just because I don't want to be, I don't want wrinkles and crinkles, you know, like I don't want to enhance them. And a lot of times we hear, oh, well, I looked horrible. It enhanced my wrinkles and crinkles. Well, one, we don't want that. And number two, it doesn't do that. Okay. If you're applying it correctly, it doesn't do that. Now, thank you, Veronica. I had to have some brightness today. So some tricks on spraying under the eyes. When you're airbrushing, you always want this pointed straight at you. So don't like brush to the side. Don't like wherever you're using it, it should be level and it should be pointing directly at you. Now, under the eyes, what I do is I'll look up and then I'll just go boop, down a little, make my moves. And as soon as I hear it, I'm moving it down. Okay. And I'll probably come all the way down here. But looking up stretches this eye, the underneath, how I need it to not get wrinkles and crinkles. Now, if you have more wrinkles and crinkles than I do, you can do something like this. You know, if you need to do that a little bit, you can. You can also take a blender. Like if you, and this is what I did in the beginning until I perfected it a little bit. But if I'm doing this and then I look and I'm like, oh, there's some wrinkles and crinkles, you can tap it out, and just do that until you get the hang of it. You can use a blender, or, you know, I love using like a blending brush, but like one of these. But I keep one separate for just under the eyes. Hey, Andrea, how are you? Where I do it just under my eyes. So you have those options, but I prefer using a blender or a blending brush because one, you're going to tap it out, or if you use a blending brush, it's soft. You don't have to be like, but you need to do it pretty much immediately. But what ends up happening is I think we're so worried about the coverage that we hang out in that area too long. And so again, when I'm doing this, I'm like, bam, move, 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 move. Now I'm all the way here. Move, 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 move. Okay. Oh, I need more coverage. Okay, do it again. Move, 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 move. So you can move, but you do have some wiggle room. And you can even come in a little bit closer, but even spray lighter than what you may normally do with a foundation, okay? So that is a way to keep the under eyes from getting, you know, crepey, creasy, all that kind of stuff. All right, so now I'm moving on. I did my pre-coverage, and so I did the CC concealer, and I used the light beige, and I did it under my eyes. I have some redness, broken capillaries here, here, and here. And so I did it there. Good morning, Luminess. And now I'm going to do blush. Yes, you heard me right. I'm doing blush because our blush is super high pigmented. And you're like, okay, what does that mean? Yay, I think. But that means that a little bit goes a long way. If you ever want to test pigment, whether it's blush, eyeshadow, anything like that, and I'll use one of our click and plays. Use one you can see. So this one is citrine in our click and plays. See how beautiful that is? And watch, if I ever want to test it, I can do this. I'm not pressing my finger in there, but look, bam, that color matches that. So If it only takes a little bit for you to get that color, that means it's high pigmented. How many drops of foundation should we exactly be putting in our system? Okay, love that, Andrea. I'm going to talk on that in just a minute. So that's how you, like, when I stick my finger in there, just go boop, 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 bam, that's that color. High pigment is a good thing, okay? If you've ever put, like, back in the 80s, when I was putting on my blue eyeshadow, and I bought it from a grocery store or a drugstore, I would have to put it on, 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 to get that color. And with Luminess, all of our stuff is so high pigment, you don't have to do that. So a little bit goes a long way. And with our blush, that is high pigmented. And so you are only going to use 2 drops of blush. If you use more, chances are you're going to look crazy, and we don't want that. And so I use 2 drops of blush. That's for both cheeks, not 2 drops here, 2 drops here, 2 drops for each cheek, or for total. And I do it before my foundation, because if I do get blush happy, if it gets a little bit bright, when I do the foundation over it, it's going to blend it away. Okay, so now I have my blush, my 2 drops. I can come in a little closer, like 3 finger widths away. And notice that I go back and forth. I don't just stay here and get it to where I want it and then do this one. I kind of go back and forth to get, because we are a little bit closer and you're focusing just on that area. So 2 drops, it should give you enough. Yep, that's it. I was checking to make sure that I was out. But that should give you enough to do 2 passes on each cheek. Now, also keep in mind that you're like, well, I don't know where to put the blush, or how do I know the blush is going there? The air is telling you. Why? Because it's an air brush. You would know where you're putting it on because of the brush, right? Well, the air is your brush, right? Sometimes I do 1 drop of blush and do 1 cheek, then repeat it on the other. Okay. And that way you don't overdo it. I like you. Hey, if it works for you and the end result is you don't look crazy, go for it. I love that. Thank you for sharing that, Cindy. All right. So we have the blush, and you can kind of see how it kind of blooms. It kind of, it comes up a little bit, and that's what's going to happen. That's why I'm telling you 2 drops. That's it. All right. So Andrea asked, how many drops of foundation should we be putting in our system? Tricky question, because 1, everybody's going to be different as far as what coverage they want. Okay. Now, perfect world, you know how to airbrush, all is good with the world. 8 drops of foundation should be the most that you use. I can do full coverage with 8 drops if I'm did I just say 8? 8 drops with 8 drops. I think that's what I did. With 8 drops with the silk. Now, Silk 4-in-1, the Advanced Silk 4-in-1 is going to give you sheer to medium coverage. Rose 4-in-1 will give you medium to full coverage. Now, when I say medium to full coverage, that does not mean that you're going to have that makeup look. Because a lot of times I'll say, well, do you like full sheer? What kind of coverage do you like? And they're like, well, I don't like that made up look. Okay, well, great, because airbrush doesn't give that to you. So if you're airbrushing correctly, you're never going to get that makeup look, that made up. It still should look natural. Medium to full coverage just means in airbrushing that our rose foundation is going to have more pigment. So maybe you don't have to use as much to get that full coverage. Does that make sense? So if you're checking on what foundation to use, I would stick between either the Advanced Silk 4-in-1 or Rose 4-in-1. Why? because there's 18 shades in those. What you are in rose, you are in silk. It's a wash across the board, but they are more neutral in tones. And so it's a little bit easier to find your shade. You don't have to necessarily worry about the pinks and the yellows, okay? So if you're a 3 in rose, you're going to be a 3 in silk. So that's the easiest thing. It's our newest foundation, and you're going to love them. Now, how many drops should we be putting in? I always say count the number of drops that you use, because that way you will be able to tell like how you're doing with it. If you put 8 drops in here and you only did half your face, okay, then what's happening? You're spraying too hard. You're maybe holding it in one area too long, okay? With 8 drops of foundation, you should be able to make at least 3 passes, full passes with the breeze. 3 full passes, possibly 4 with the breeze. Okay? So that's another way of seeing how you're doing. So always, regardless of what you do, always count the number of drops. Now, I used pre-coverage. So I did my CC concealer, so I got some coverage. I also have my blush on that has a pigment. So I'm going to get coverage that way as well. And so now when I go to my foundation, chances are I'll probably only need about 5 drops. 5 drops is enough to give me the coverage that I want. So, Andrea, I went into a lot, or Andrea, is it Andrea or Andrea? I went into a lot of detail with that just because I want to ultimately explain everything to you guys so you can better understand. I feel like when you understand how things work, it's easier to see the process, if that makes sense. And then you asked about the Mystic foundation. So Mystic and Ultra, do we have another one? Matte, those only have 12 shades. So if you're using Mystic and you like it, then keep it. But if you want to change it up and try something else, then if you're using Mystic, I would go for the Rose foundation, the Rose 4-in-1. The reason, there's another reason I like, several reasons, but Andrea, you might want to, sorry, my brain's going 90 to nothing. Andrea, if you do want to try the Rose foundation, then send me a photo. Let's talk, because I'll have to tweak it, because you're not going to be the same from Mystic to Rose or Silk. Okay. So we kind of have to tweak that. Lori loves the Ultra. Yeah. If you're using one of those other ones, then stick to them. Like if it's doing what you want it to do, then stick with it. I enjoy, or I prefer the Rose and the Silk because it's the 4-in-1. It has anti-aging properties in it. It has a moisturizer. It has a concealer. It has everything you need in it. So you technically don't, maybe you don't need a something for pre-coverage. You can just use a lighter foundation. A lot of times I can do 2, the 020, and then put the 3 on top. So that's another option as well. Hey, Jeannie, how are you? All right, so now I'm going to, I feel like I'm a little bit lighter. I need a tan badly. So I might mix. Most of the time I'm like 2, 3. Oh, I could have used that one. No, I feel like I'm a 2, 3, maybe a 3 mainly. I can get away with a 3, but sometimes it ends up being a little bit too dark. But remember, guys, that airbrush makeup is forgiving, right? It's very, very forgiving. So when I'm doing my classes, and guys, we have classes that you can sign up for, and they say, oh, I have the wrong shade. I have the wrong shade. Okay, great. Well, let's talk. What How long? I'm like, just went blank. How long have you been using it? Well, I've only used it once. Okay. When first starting out, majority of the people put airbrush makeup on like traditional makeup. And so if you're putting airbrush makeup on like traditional makeup, guess what? It's not airbrushed. Okay. So you have to put it on like airbrush. So once I explained to them the steps and how to do it and what to do, how to do it properly, they realize, oh, I have the right one. I have the right one. So, and then you can always mix in my kit, and that's what Jeannie just reminded me of. When I go and do makeup, I don't carry 18 shades of makeup. I don't carry all that. I carry, I think, like 7. Why? Because I can mix everything. I can mix it. You can always mix them together. If your foundation's too dark, put a lighter foundation in with it. If you have glow, you can even use glow because there's no shimmer in it. You can use glow to lighten the foundation. All right. So now I have my 2-3, turning it on. And I'm going to start making my pass. Always go in and make one pass, lightly pulling down. Now, when we tell you to practice at first, I always tell people to practice with water first, because that way it's fun. You get to feel what it feels like on your face. Water does weigh heavier than the makeup. And so your makeup, or so the water is going, your face is going to be wet, but I just don't want it running down. I have a class on Wednesday with you. Yay! Oh, perfect. Okay. So now I'm just concentrating on those areas that I need my coverage. So I don't have to put the same amount of coverage everywhere on my face, right? Why is that? Because airbrush makeup goes on like little pixels. And so we're just filling in that space to get the coverage that we want. And so that's why you can make one complete pass, do this, and then do it again, and then you're done. And then you're done. All right. Okay, so I have the coverage that I want, and now I'm going in and I'm going to, all right, there we go. I have my Cut 1 palette, and I'm Cut 1 palette, and I'm going to do some contouring. Jeannie, why didn't they want the rest? All right, so now do a little bit of contouring. And guys, the other thing, like people are like, oh, I don't know how to contour. But people want a tan, dark face, but then they feel like they should use a darker foundation. And that's not how it works. Foundation needs to be the color of your skin. That I match everybody to the chest because my face is whiter because I use sunscreen than the rest of my body. And so I match everybody to the chest. Now, foundation, the reason for foundation is to even you out, cover what we need to cover, blah, blah, blah. So it flattens you. It just flattens you. So doing blush, contour, highlight, that kind of thing, shimmer, that's bringing shape back to your face, okay? So to contour, you do not need to be, like Zoolander, like real harsh contour. You can do it very softly. If you want to airbrush contour, just airbrush with a shade, one shade darker than your foundation. It does not have to be a big deal. I like to contour. I can't walk out of the house without it. I'm just flat out going to tell you that. Now I'm going to add some blush. Yes, I do still have blush on. But what I'm doing as I'm looking at my face, I just added a little bit more up here to bring everything up, okay? Now, because that's what it is, you can look and just kind of, okay, what I feel like I need something. I feel like maybe you contour too much. Maybe you need to blend it a little bit. Maybe you need to highlight a little bit more underneath. You don't necessarily have to highlight all underneath. So like, let's say I use my cut one and I'm going to use the highlight, the flat white. I don't have to go all the way under here. Maybe I just highlight there. It doesn't have to be. I was like, did I just use an eyeshadow brush? It doesn't have to be anything super duper crazy. Okay. It can be very soft moves. Now, actually, I think I'll just, what do I have on? I'm like, what am I wearing? I'm going to take our Nude and Naughty. And then with a kind of a medium, I feel like with my summer colors, I can go a little bit lighter. And I'm just going to do a little blending of a neutral color. Now, if you have hooded eyes, remember, bring it up. So that when you open your eyes, you can see the shade. So I just blend it straight up. Like that, okay? Then now, and I did this yesterday for church and I loved it. So I took my optics palette, because also we can pick and choose where we want our shimmer. I mean, I feel like we use shimmer more in the summertime. And normally I'm right here. I'm like, boo, boo, and then down my nose. But to change things up, I use the optics palette. And because of my colors, I'm going to use like the gold and the pinky color. Like that, make a little bit of a rose gold color and tap, 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 tap. And then look at that shine. Look at that. Woo! I love it. Love it. Guys, just because it says optics, highlight, and strobe, guess what? You can use it as eyeshadow. Now I'm going to blend that a little bit more. And bam. Bam. Bam, 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 bam. And I have my shimmer. Now, if I wanted to go in, now, with shimmer, you don't want to look like a disco ball. So I have a lot of shimmer here. So if I did, I could maybe do a little there, maybe a little bit down my nose, but then I don't want to be too shimmer, shimmer, shimmer. Okay. So now I'm going to take this and get my mascara. So I'm going to take my lip liner. I'm going to ask them just to rename this Heather. Because you think they'll do it? I think everybody should put, let's do hashtag Dusty Rose to Heather. Let's start a trend. Everybody do it. Dusty Rose to Heather, hashtag. I'll go in with a little itty bitty marker and change them all. Okay. Now, let me get some else real quick. So, see my Dusty Rose, how neutral, how wonderful it is. But look at my top. My top's bright. My top's fun. So I'm going to go on top of it with the pink, what is it? Naughty Pink, right? Yeah, Naughty Pink. So that way, why am I doing it? So it's not too bright. I love it, Heather. Thank you. And all y'all's posts, y'all do that. I'm going to tell them to look for it today. If y'all can see Heather's, do what Heather did. Here, I'm going to write it down too so we can. Oh, hold on. I wasn't on the right thing. I don't know what just happened. I'm like, I don't know what just happened. Okay, let's do hashtag Dusty Rose to Heather. There we go. But now, look, it's not as bright. But it goes more with my shirt. So I don't feel like it's a little more subtle. Oh, thank you, Amber. And now I'm going in. I'm going to curl my lashes real quick. Girl, are you telling me they are out? Hold on. They should be. Hold on one second. Let me check. Dusty Rose. Dusty Rose. Oh, they are out. Yeah, they are, because, I mean, that's our most popular one, so they'll be getting that in. For sure. Have you ever heard for sure in Chinola? Have y'all heard that? I wonder where it came from. My mom always said that growing up. Oh, wait, did I curl? I know, Cindy. I'm asking every time, girl. I'm trying to get some updates for y'all. No, I put the naughty pink on top. And then I have to make the mascara face. And there we go. Oh, I feel so fresh, so summery, so light and fresh. All right, and there we go. Voila. All right, guys. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful Monday. I will check on that Dusty Rose. I'll check on all that stuff. I'm hoping we'll get some answers soon. Don't forget the hashtag Dusty Rose to Heather. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. So great seeing you on this Monday, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.